Do you have a preference between round-robin tournaments and double elimination brackets? If so, why?
Me personally, I never really had a preference between round robin and double elim. I think both tournament formats are fine. Me personally, I think I think we should do like more invitationals or like smaller man bracket tournaments instead of more like open bracket tournaments. Open bracket tournaments are good, don't get me wrong, but like I feel like more invitationals and like smaller bracket tournaments are better. So like there's more investment in every match.
Okay. Has any Street Fighter 6 character caught your eye as a potential main?
So Street Fighter 6, I've had my eye on Manon and JP, so those are kind of the two characters I'm really looking forward to. And Kimberly as well.
Kimberly as well? Okay. You've always mentioned your preference for variety when it comes to matchups in a tournament. Do you have any concerns that there's a character in Street Fighter 6 right now that is so strong that everyone just wants to pick them?
I do think in Street Fighter 6, Guile's kind of that character right now. Guile's like absurdly strong right now. I definitely don't think if he doesn't get nerfed, everyone's just going to gravitate Guile, especially for the $1 million on the line.
Who do you consider your biggest competitor in this Capcom Cup? Who do you like to play against the most?
The person I actually like playing against the most of all the tournaments I've ever been to is actually Angry Bird. Angry Bird's pretty fun to play against. And it's such a weird like correlation, but like every time we go to a tournament together, it's always like we play so many games with each other, and like playing Angry Bird is always fun.
Okay. At this point, you are a role model for many fighting game players. Do you yourself have a role model, and who is it?
When I was first getting into fighting games, I never really had like a role model getting into fighting games per se. I've had like favorite players over the years, like Fujimura, 801 Strider. I've had like plenty of like really fan favorite players growing up and watching them play. But I never really had like this guy got me into the FGC kind of thing.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. You played Guilty Gear Strive and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 at some events in 2022. Do you plan to continue competing in them? And then what makes Street Fighter your favorite primary title?
I always enter Strive and Marvel. I've always said this countless times. I don't see the point of going to a major if you're only going to enter one game because it's like not really worth it, kind of. But I always enter those three games. Like Strive, I have a love-hate relationship with Strive, and Marvel 3 is like the game that got me into fighting games, surprisingly enough, because I wasn't really a Street Fighter 4. Like I wasn't the biggest Street Fighter 4 fan, so Marvel 3 is always like my first love, and I always enter Marvel 3 to support the scene.
I love that. What do you think about modern input in Street Fighter 6? Do we need this accessibility level in fighting games, or would it be better to just stick to the classic?
So the modern control versus classic controls is a weird argument. I don't think modern controls will be too impactful in tournament play, I think. But I think to get people into the game and casually, I think modern controls would be great.
All right. And then my last question for you is, we see a significant increase in prize money for some fighting game titles. Is it good for the FGC in general? Could it be a way dangerous, for example, by making the gap between pro players and the general community too big, creating to a closed elite?
I do partially agree that having good high prize pools are very good for like the audience, the scene, like everyone's seeing the high prize pool and they're wanting to really get into like the fighting game. But I do think there's a problem, because if it starts becoming like too elitist, or like you have to be this good or you have to be sponsored to get into then it starts becoming bad for the FGC. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. I'm for like the more prize pools, but I definitely think it should be more for the open bracket events to like test your mettle or show how good you are.
Awesome. And then do you have any parting words at all from the tournament to just being here? Any words for Street Fighter 6, anything like that?
I would say play Marvel 3. Marvel 3 is the best fighting game ever made. I would constantly say until the day I die, play Marvel 3. That game is the best. And I'm really looking forward to Street Fighter 6, and I can't wait to play it.